Hi everyone. I'm blurring my background just because you'll see my one of my uncles gave me a bear and when I was 8 and I still have it. It's falling apart and I'm trying to debate on like what I should do with it. Part of me wants to throw it away, but the other part of me is like, I want to throw it away. Maybe I'll make the shirt into a quilt. I'm gonna show you. See, I think I'm gonna put maybe I could take the shirt off and take that part and make it into my quote this summer. Because this in August, one of the things I plan on doing is making a quilt with my daughter. So I'm doing it with AKA stuff, and maybe I'll just incorporate some other things um, into it as well. But that's not what we're here for. Let's get into what we're here for. My my bareback. We are here for, you know what? Since I'm looking at Summer House's notes in front of me, let's talk about Summer House. It starts with Shanice being topless. No one thought it was funny. She thought it was funny. What's so funny about, okay, so she comes and sits down, and I do not, y'all, I don't like Jasmine. And even though Cyrus is a complete a-hole, I don't like him either. I still don't like her. Like, I'm not going to be sympathetic because her husband is a jerk. But anyway, two things are true. Just put it out there. So, um, there was a conversation like, oh, so are you gonna Jasmine, inappropriate time, right? So you're gonna go talk to him, you're gonna talk to Alex. Well, this is not the time I want to bring it up. Oh, well, and then now because you said it loud enough for everybody at the table to know. So of course Alex was like, so what do you want to talk to me about? Like, and so other people like, yeah, let's talk. You should talk about it now. No, we should talk about it later. Everybody at the table seems to know what they wanted to talk to Alex about, except Alex. So Alex is like, what's up? Which I blame Jasmine again, because Jasmine is being more Jasmine. You know, I'm telling you, like, I wouldn't. I think the only person that I think I'd be friends with in this group is Jordan, to be honest. Uh, maybe Summer, but Jasmine, I we would be a friend of a friend that I could tolerate when we get into close settings. And then I'd be on her side when necessary, but we would not be call me girl. I'm like, don't call me. Anyway, what was I talking about? Jasmine. Okay, so Alex is like, what's up? So I'm gonna be honest, I loved Alex's energy in this because Alex was like, we're talking about you Googling her incident. Alex is like, I call bullish because how you guys are portraying me and how you guys thinking that because I Googled her, now all of a sudden I'm not interested when it was a whole conversation. We all sat around and had this conversation, right? And the thing that bothered me is that all of the people who are involved in this conversation didn't say ish, didn't say much for, and then I do appreciate Jason for being like, okay, I understand where Alex is coming from. You guys are coming at him in a whole different way, and I am there for that. Um, now, so he kind of runs off. Summer is talking about she's upset that Alex Googled, and then but then the producers are like, so you didn't Google either? Well, I learned on their Instagram. What's the difference? All y'all, and then they went through the whole list. Other people have also Googled to figure out Nick. Like all these people have Googled. And so, and the thing that Shanice made me laugh, which I was like, girl, she said, you're judging me based off of what happened to me a year ago. I'm a whole different person. That was when I was 28. Man, you're 29. Right? What? I mean, a lot can happen in a year, but ma'am, there's not much difference between 28 and 29. Now, if you said I was 25, so Jordan's like, well, I was there with her throughout that whole time. So Jordan was trying to kiki for, or she was trying to, be on Shanice's side. That was so traumatic. It was so whatever, whatever. I was like, I understand that it was traumatic and she was going through this breakup, but what we're not going to say, this is why I probably would have kept my mouth shut. What we're not going to say is that Shanice wasn't cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, because me and you know that she was not, maybe her ex did exaggerate some stuff, and I'm not even going to dispute that. But to say that she did nothing and she was innocent in this, and it was just her boyfriend who was trying to portray her this negatively or whatever, now that is probably an incorrect statement. There's some truth in the middle, and what Alex is saying, which he has every right to say, is this. Alex has 1,000% to say this: it's messy and I want no parts. He has the right to say that. And I am 1,000% here for him saying, this is messy and I want no parts. Okay. Bria decides not to attend. So this is what I don't like about the editing, because last week the editors made it seem like Bria was talking to everybody but Shanice. Come to find out, she did talk to Shanice, and Shanice gave a really half behind apology. I was like, that's your apology? And then, which puts in context the fact that she comes up and shows herself topless, that apology was nothing. That apology was water. Um, so Simon keeps going back and forth upstairs to see Bria and gives her the 411 on what's taking place. Everybody, I love how they do resolve conflict on this show, though, because they resolve it, and then Jordan makes a comment. They all cheers each other and say thicker, some of us thicker than others, which is a slide. So this is what's the problem with Jordan. I'm going to fast forward. Oh, I will say this. Amir does a really good job at clearing up what was the big issue between what Alex said and what Shanice was happening, the whole situation. I appreciate that. He clears all of it up. But at the end of the day, it was Jasmine. Jasmine had no business bringing this up at the dinner table. And eventually Amir and Shanice dance, and I thought that was cute. Alex does, he cuts everybody's hair, so he cuts Nick's hair. Now, this is the problem that I have with Jordan. I understand. See, this is the issue, y'all, and I hate to say it. Like, when you want to be young and fancy free on these internet streets, I think it is perfectly legitimately fine. And I say this as the internet was becoming really popular when I was in college. When I was in college, this is when social media popped off. MySpace was big, Black Planet was big. And I actually used to be a part of the A5, the Alpha family page. So then it was like I was in it in college, right? And then MySpace became a big thing after I graduated from college. And then Facebook, you needed .edus when I became a member of Facebook. And that was I think after grad school. So the point that I'm saying all this to say, I say all this, and I miss the .edu days. No shade. Anyway, I say all this to say, you got to be ultra duper careful about kind of the life you live. Before the internet, I think that it was so much easier to be, to put your business out there, like your body out there, and to start and to revamp your life, right? Um, but I will say that there are certain privileges that white people have that Black people do not. I give that example of Vanessa Williams. Vanessa Williams, as much as we talk about her life, because how she got her start was on was it Miss America? I think it was Miss America. And she had to renounce her crown because she took pictures for Playboy. See, people forget the details about that, and it became a huge scandal. When we talk about Pamela Anderson, where when she had that sex tape leak that was non-intentional, which is a good show on Hulu, by the way. Anyway, you saw that it absolutely typecasted her as being a dunce and to being she had to lean more into her being a sex symbol because in order to make a living, because no one was going to take her seriously about her having like an absolute legit career. She wanted to do more, but she couldn't do more. So my point, I say all that to say this. When you're young, you have a great body, everything's supposed to be where it's supposed to be. You have no kids, you have no stretch marks, you have no nothing. It is perfectly okay to pose with barely there or nothing there. And I think that that's legitimate. That's perfectly fine. I am okay with it, right? But unfortunately, there are consequences. And I'm not saying that there should be. I'm just saying that there are consequences. And the consequences are that people do not take you seriously. And the fact that people automatically will judge you based on what you've done. And there may be, even though it is in the state of California, it is against the law to Google someone before you hire them, simply because of possible discrimination. So it is absolutely against the law to Google them. It is absolutely against the law to ask for their social media stuff, all of that. However, it's very difficult to make sure that people don't have implicit bias. And the implicit bias is, oh, I know Jordan. She posed on that, whatever. And it's hard to undo what you did, and people then wash your hands. So that's even in professional settings, that's even in dating settings. It's hard for people to, first of all, it's hard to take pretty people seriously. If you're pretty, if you're fit, it's hard sometimes for people to take your intelligence seriously, right? They tend to take your intelligence more serious if you're unattractive and out of shape. And that's just kind of I don't make the rules. Or if you're old, but not too old, right? So with that being said, you have Jordan, who has posed, who has showed all her goodness, and she wants to be not looked at as a sex symbol. But unfortunately, the world looks at her this way, number one. And then number two, I think that the other issue is that she took out her frustration on Alex and Amir. And you have Alex who makes who to be fair, who's been making jokes about her. And he's thought it was jokes. And I do appreciate him later saying one person's joke could be another person's trigger. And that's clearly what's been taking place with Jordan. So Jordan is like really upset that she's been sexualized and she's frustrated because she's being confused about her being, she's saying that she's celibate. What she compares this for Alex about him saying that he is not drinking, but he clearly is drinking and he's had some drinks. So there was this conversation that was taking place between the two of them. And Jordan really felt that then Jordan also felt that Amir was like he pissed on a tree and that tree was her by saying that I am really attracted to you and I want to make sure that because I'm really attracted to her that nobody else, he called dibs on her. And see, Alex told him that, and I didn't like the fact that Alex told her that. But to prevent her from having genuine connections. I really think that this is being put out of context. And because this happens in everyday life. If a guy or a girl likes somebody and then everybody, if you tell all your girlfriends or all your boyfriend, all your girlfriends or guys tell their guy friends, then out of mutual respect, people will fall back. Right. So I think that it was blown out of proportion as a whole. I really do like Amir, so it's very difficult for me. And I think Amir and Jordan would have been a very cute relationship. But anyway, Bria makes a comment, like, look, you Google Jordan and she's naked all over. And see, that just goes into the point that I'm trying to say. Hold on. Sorry, guys. My kids knew I'm recording and they're just being loud just because they are. So Silas does talk to Jordan, and I appreciate this because he wanted to offer a different perspective to Jordan by saying, and then Jordan's like, well, Amir is listening and he's present about explaining exactly what I said. He's like, I'm attracted to her, I want to get to know her. And he's telling his friends how he felt. And his friends are respecting that boundary. So Amir eventually does kind of hash it out with Jordan. They hug and all is well. You see Preston talking to Donald, talking about they're going to have a pride party and he's going to cook soul food. And they show how long it takes for people to cook soul food. I thought it was really funny that everybody was cooking but Jason. Sorry about that. All the men are cooking. I like how all the men are cooking on this show. So to kind of really dispel gender stereotypes. Alex is talking to Al, his brother. They're going to sing for the finale. Nick is going to do the finale. And you can totally tell in just grand Kappa fashion that they're going to have this over the top grand kind of party for sure. Nick's girlfriend, Tasha, is coming in from Africa, flying 20 hours to get there. So that's astounding. And then finally, we end this throughout the tension of Jasmine and Silas. And I'm going to say something about Jasmine and Silas. So in the beginning of the episode, Jasmine accidentally stains his pants because she irons his pants. So Silas is upset. By the evening, we are still talking about the stain on the pants. Silas, Jasmine, we end this episode with Jasmine cooking for him. And Silas is not, he eats a little bit of it, but he's really not eating it and he tells her, that, I'm not really interested in the potatoes and the bread. And then he explains to her because the potatoes are starch. You can see that she's counting in her head because I firmly believe that her first reaction was, I really want to curse this guy out. I can throw this plate at his head. But so here's the problem. And I said this in the last one. Silas does not respect her as an equal. And part of this is Jasmine financially does not hold her own weight. So because she doesn't have if she does have, I know she does have a career, she's a writer, but she doesn't have much of a career. She's definitely not making enough to sustain her. Whereas Silas makes enough to sustain the entire family. And so therefore he feels that he's more important than she is. And since the thing that she brings to the table is what he considers his wifely duty. Jason makes a comment about this, that his expectations of a wife is different from her expectations of a wife. And so we're going to have they're having problems in trying to iron this out. I do think the first year of marriage is tough, but there should also be some joy in this. And I think it's not that I think that they didn't get to know each other. It's just that what he anticipated from a wife is somebody who is a little bit more subservient. And he's not excited because she is not as subservient as he anticipated. Because in his mind, if you aren't making money all day and then you still can't you still can't do the basics of understanding what my food is like and be on my schedule that helps make my life easier, then what are you here for? And then now they can't necessarily have sex because she can't be quiet. So collectively, what are we doing? What is your purpose? And this sounds really mean to even mention, but this is consistently what she has. And you got to be careful when you marry people. And I think this is the problem with the beauty of having a healthier dating relationship, because you guys had months in, but most of that he was gone. So when he comes back every few weeks that you guys are together, then when you're only there for a few weeks, then you feel comfortable making dinner and catering to him. But when it's long term, you're like, you really anticipated that I was going to be catering to you 24/7, 5 days, 7 days a week. Like, I'm supposed to be getting up when you get up and I'm cooking your breakfast. Like, you can't ever cook me breakfast. Like, what are we doing? So I think that they didn't have the greatest dating situation that allowed them to have a really good, healthy understanding. Because I don't think they would have gotten married. I don't think he would have proposed. And she's like, I don't know if we're gonna make it. No, I mean, I don't know either. I know that y'all gonna have to change. And then next week he just becomes beyond disrespectful. So it's gonna be interesting to see what that's like. Now, have a great rest of your afternoon. I'm gonna try to finish Real Housewives of Atlanta, even though I don't think it was much to talk about. Talk to you later.